Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome again to Take 5. Let's jump right in. So we've been recapping the sermon from Sunday morning. This is about our 8th or ninth installment of our Back to Basics series. We're talking about the life of Samson. The title of our message was Hokey, Pokey, Faith. And we're talking about this idea that we often are all in when it comes to our relationship with God and serving His kingdom, and then sometimes we're not. We're kind of hokey pokey with Him. We're in and we're out. We're in and we're out. And yesterday we talked about Samson and the great supernatural strength and power that he had. And we talked about how we also have that same power within us. Maybe not necessarily the physical strength that Samson had, but we have the same spirit that moved on Samson, that empowered him to do such great things for the kingdom of God in his generation. We have that same thing living in us that wants to empower us to do great things for the kingdom of God in our generation. But the number one problem in Samson's life, the main flaw that he had that kept coming back up, reoccurring in his life, it wasn't lust, although he had a sexual problem, obviously. He had a problem with that. It wasn't anything else. Samson's biggest flaw, in my opinion, was his unfaithfulness. Samson was a man of great strength, supernatural strength. There was obviously something divinely, inspired, something different about this man. But Samson just wasn't very faithful. One second he was picking up the jawbone of a donkey and killing 1,000 Philistines. The next second he's in a prostitute's house sinning against God. One second he's tearing open a lion, killing a lion with his bare hands. The next minute, he's going back to that dead lion and getting honey out of a beehive that had formed in that carcass. And if you know anything about his story, he was a Nazarite, so he was not supposed to touch dead animals or dead bodies of any kind, anything unclean. One second, he's doing all these miraculous things. He's picking up the gate at Gaza and carrying it some 32 miles. All these amazing feats, and then the next moment, he's putting his head in the lap of Delilah. It's just hokey pokey faith with Samson. One minute he's all in and he's serving God's kingdom and he's serving God's people, and he's using that supernatural strength that God had given him. He's using it for God's kingdom, and then the next moment he's not serving God and he's doing something stupid and he's serving his own flesh. And that's what I think is the main problem when it comes to unfaithfulness is when we begin to promote our own desires and our own flesh above God's. Truthfully, our unfaithfulness stems from a place of selfishness. Now, I know that's a harsh word for some of us, but it's true. If you are a person, and every one of us have struggled with it before, if you are a person that struggles with unfaithfulness, it's because you are selfish. It's because you put your needs above the needs of others. It's because you put your desires above the desires of God. It's because you put your life and everything in it above God's calling in your life. And that is exactly what Samson did. I mean, how many times, for example, the first Philistine woman that he found that he fell in love with and wanted to marry, he goes back to his parents. And what did he say? Go get her to be my wife, because she is right in my eyes. It doesn't matter that she's a woman of the enemy. It doesn't matter that I am called to defeat them and deliver Israel from their bondage. None of that matters. It doesn't matter that she serves the same God that I do or doesn't. None of that matters. All that matters in this moment is that she's right in my eyes. My gosh, I mean, you and I have been guilty of that so many times in our life. One minute we're ready to serve God. One minute we're ready to storm the gates of hell with a water pistol. And the next minute we're doing what's right in our eyes. What pleases our flesh. What pleases us. The problem with that is Jesus said in Matthew chapter 6 that nobody can serve two different masters. You're either going to hate one and love the other. You'll be devoted to one and despise the other. You can't serve two different masters. And that's what Samson tried to do his whole life, ultimately to his demise. There were moments when Samson was used greatly by God, when the Spirit of God would come on him and he would do amazing things, and that same Spirit lives in you and me. We have gifts and talents and abilities and power and supernatural strength that God has given us Himself to be a blessing to this generation that we live in, to be a blessing to His kingdom. We have that same strength and that same power. And there are moments when we use it and we walk in it and we fulfill everything God has called us to do. But then there are moments where we are hokey pokey, when we are unfaithful with God, when we're in, but then sometimes we're out, just constantly playing the hokey pokey with God. Every one of us have been guilty of this. I would almost be willing to even bet that many of us are guilty of this in some area of our life now. Just playing the hokey pokey, being all in one minute, not being all in the next. And what we're going to find out tomorrow and Friday is that this game that we play, this hokey pokey, this thing that we do where we're in 1 minute and out the next, it has consequences. And you always pay a price. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. We're going to talk some more about that. Hey, I hope you have a great day today. Can't wait to be here again with you tomorrow on Take 5.